It all started in a small, secluded village called Marlowe, tucked away deep in the mountains. No one from the outside world ever visited, and very few people knew about its existence. The village was notorious for its eerie silence, especially around New Year's Eve. The few residents who lived there never ventured beyond the village limits, for there were rumors of a curse that plagued the town. One year, a group of 4 college students, Emily, Ben, Sophie, and Luke, decided to take a trip to the mountains to escape the chaos of the city. They wanted something unique, and when Emily found an invitation to a special New Year's Eve party at a mysterious village named Marlowe, they decided to go. The invitation was cryptic. "Join us for a celebration that will be remembered for eternity." They didn't think much of it. The idea of a remote party intrigued them. Little did they know this decision would change their lives forever. Part 2. The journey to Marlowe. The students packed their bags and drove up to the mountains. The drive took hours, and the further they went, the more they felt a strange sense of unease. The roads were narrow, winding, and surrounded by thick forests that seemed to swallow the light. After a while, they reached a point where GPS lost signal, and they were left with only the paper map Emily had printed out. "Are we sure this is the right place?" Sophie asked, peering through the foggy windows. "I think so," Emily replied, but her voice didn't sound as confident. The village was hidden from view, and they almost missed the narrow dirt road leading into Marlowe. As they drove down the winding road, the atmosphere turned heavy, the air thick with fog. The village appeared ahead, almost like a mirage, a small old village with cottages made of stone. It was the last place they would expect to find a New Year's celebration. When they arrived at the center of the village, the place seemed empty, but lights flickered inside the windows of the central manor. They parked the car and approached the grand door. It creaked open before they could even knock, and a figure in an old-fashioned black suit stood at the entrance. "Welcome, guests. We've been expecting you," the man said with a cold smile. Come in. The others are waiting." Part 3. The night begins. The inside of the manor was dimly lit, with candles flickering across the walls. There were no other guests in sight, only the man who greeted them and his unsettling smile. As they stepped into the grand dining room, they noticed something strange. There were no other people, only 4 chairs set around a long table, each one carefully placed. "Where is everyone else?" Ben asked. The man remained silent for a moment, then gestured for them to sit. "The others will be joining you soon. Tonight is special." They sat down reluctantly, and the man began serving them food. The scent of roast meat and strange herbs filled the air. The food was delicious, but something about it didn't feel right. Emily, who was usually adventurous with food, hesitated, her appetite quickly fading. The clock on the wall ticked closer to midnight, and the atmosphere grew colder, darker. As they ate in silence, Emily noticed an old portrait on the wall. It was a picture of the village, taken long ago, but what struck her were the faces, pale, hollow eyes staring out from the frame. She couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. Part 4. The unveiling. As midnight approached, a soft whisper echoed through the manor, and the lights flickered. The man who had greeted them now appeared more sinister, his smile twisted in a way that sent chills down their spines. The door to the dining room slowly creaked open, and a figure entered. It was a woman, pale with hollow eyes, her skin almost translucent. She moved without a sound, and when she looked at them, they felt as though their souls had been seen, exposed. She did not speak, but motioned to the clock. Midnight was close. Suddenly, the man began chanting in a language they couldn't understand, his voice low and hypnotic. The air grew thick, heavy with tension. The students felt as though they were being pulled into something beyond their comprehension. Before they could react, the woman lifted her arms, and the room was engulfed in darkness. The clock struck midnight and a voice whispered in Emily's ear, "The curse has begun." Part 5. The Curse, Unleashed. The ground shook and the manor seemed to twist around them. Shadows rose from the floor, swirling like dark clouds. Emily could hear whispers, countless voices, some old, some young, crying out in pain, begging for release. The figures from the portrait began to move, their hollow eyes now staring directly at the students. The woman's eyes glowed, and the man's face twisted into a grotesque grin. "You should not have come here," he said, his voice distorted, no longer human. Ben tried to run, but the door slammed shut with a deaf.